You're listening to the School Leadership Reimagined podcast, episode 198. How do builders like us make a dramatic difference in the lives of our students in spite of all the obstacles we face? How do you keep your vision for your school from being held hostage by resistant teachers, uncooperative parents, ridiculous district policies, or a lack of time, money, or resources? If you're facing those challenges right now, here's where you'll find the answers, strategies, and actionable tips you need to overcome any obstacle you face. You don't have to wait to make a difference in the lives of the people you serve. You can turn your school into a success story right now with the people and resources you already have. Let's get started. Hey builders, welcome to another episode of the School Leadership Reimagined podcast. I'm your host, Robyn Jackson, and I want to know if this sounds at all familiar to you. You have been trained as a leader and you've been doing fine. You've experienced some success as a leader. And then all of a sudden you discover buildership. And buildership is something brand new. And you start to hear about buildership. You start to understand what it's about. And then you start to apply it to your work and you start to see a few successes. And then you want more. And then all of a sudden, instead of feeling exciting about buildership, you just feel overwhelmed because you realize that buildership isn't just a technique or a strategy. It's a whole different approach to the way that you do your work. And it can feel overwhelming. You look at all the things that you thought were true that you're now realizing may or may not be true. And yet that's how you were trained. That's how your school is set up. And you know that that's not working. And you want to make changes based on what you're learning about buildership. And you feel like you need to make all the changes right now. And the more that you understand about buildership, the more you want to change. The more that you want to change, the more overwhelmed you feel. Now, have you ever felt that way? Are you feeling that way right now? If you are, then today's episode is for you, and I have one message: calm down. Now, I'll talk about it in just a second, but before I do, if you want some targeted support around your buildership journey, because you really want to implement this in a systematic way, and you want to implement it not only in a systematic way, but in a way that isn't stressful, in a way where you get all the support and the feedback and the accountability that you need to make sure that you're doing it the right way. If you'd like to get a curated curriculum so that as you're implementing and learning about buildership, you're learning about things in the right order, then I want to invite you to join us at Buildership University. You see, at Buildership University, once you join, you can relax. And the reason that you can relax is because we've already mapped it out for you. Your success path is clear. The moment you join Buildership University, we start you on your buildership journey because, frankly, it takes about a year to get all of the pieces of the buildership model fully established. And so during that year in that first year of Buildership University, we're helping you do that. We're helping you create your vision and your mission and your core values and get them established in your school. We're helping you develop an alignment architecture so that everything in your school is aligned. We're helping you develop a one plan that helps you get focused on what is the right work for your school right now. We're helping you develop a feedback system and a support system and an accountability system and a culture architecture that can help you put these things so that your school starts running smoothly. We show you how to begin to plan and think like a builder in those 90-day cycles. And then we also show you how to builder the builders so that the work isn't just on you. And everything is done in these small bite-sized chunks. So you're never feeling overwhelmed. Instead, you just trust the system and trust the process. And we're there to support you along the way. We have live coaching calls. You get individual feedback on your work. So as you are building these systems, before you put them out in front of other people, we're there giving you feedback so that when you get in front of your staff, you don't have to worry about whether or not you did it right because you've already gotten that feedback ahead of time. Now, Buildership University is currently closed to new members. We bring people on in cohorts so that we can onboard you, and then we can spend our time focusing on supporting you and making sure that you have a successful start. However, every once in a while, a spot will open up in Buildership University. So if we're in between intakes, you can go to buildershipuniversity.com, click on join the wait list. And if a spot opens up, we will reach out to you and you can grab that spot. And then stay tuned because we're going to be doing another intake in another month or so. And so you can be a part of that intake by joining the wait list. You'll be the first to be notified so you can get your spot before we open it up to the public and make sure that you get your spot in that cohort. So again, buildershipuniversity.com and then click on join the wait list and join us there. Okay. Can we have a frank talk? I mean, literally, today, I don't want to do a big presentation. It's just me and you, and we're getting together, and we need to have a talk. And the reason we need to have a talk is because I'm seeing something happening inside the Buildership community. People who are in Buildership University, people who are in the School Leadership Reimagined Facebook group, people who've read the book, people who have decided they want to become builders. And I'm seeing a trend. And I'm even seeing this trend for people who haven't discovered buildership yet. You know, everybody's really, really stressed out. Now, if you are stuck in a leadership paradigm, I get why you're stressed out, right? Leadership is stressful, and this is a stressful time of year if you are a leader because everything is falling on you. The pressure is mounting. You're trying to make gains. You haven't made the gains you wanted to see in the first half of the year. Now you got to get some things done in order to be able to hit your SIP goals so you don't get in trouble or yelled at or get the side eye by your central office. Speaking of central office, they're putting a lot more pressure on you to do things a particular way. You're getting pressure from teachers who are burned out and tired and frustrated. You're getting pressure from families who are, also frustrated and want the best for their children and are trying to advocate. You are facing increasing amounts of pressure to just get some things done. What's even more is that you're now probably in the swing of teacher evaluation season, right? So you realize you're behind in your teacher observation. So you got to get into classrooms. You got to get all those write-ups done. Oh, and there's also the spring band concert and the spring play and the spring sports season is starting and grades are just in and the data doesn't look the way it should. And we're third trimester and testing is about to come up. And just talking about that makes me stressed. So if you are a leader, you're dealing with that kind of stress and it is feeling overwhelming. If you're a builder, you're facing some of those same stressors. But if you started this process and this journey, you know that, listen, there are systems that you can put in place to alleviate your stress. So at least if you're a builder, you know that there's hope. It doesn't have to be this way. And herein lies the problem. Because if you haven't quite started your buildership journey yet, or if you are just at the beginning of your journey, you know that hope exists and you want it right now. And I get it. Like the pressure is high. You know there's a solution. Give it all to me right now because I'm dealing with this pressure. But what happens is when you do that, you are putting additional pressure on yourself, right? The leader has enough pressure. But then take that pressure that the leader is feeling and then put the pressure that we put on ourselves. We got to get this done right away. I'm so behind. I'm not doing what I should be doing. I need to have my vision. I need to get my mission. We haven't done core values yet and the year is almost over. And you add that on top of the normal pressures that you're facing already as an administrator. And now you have just, I'm just amazed that more of you aren't in the hospital because listen, this is the paradox of being a builder. Being a builder says you can see the possibilities. And the challenge is once you see the possibilities, you can't unsee them. And when you look around at your current reality, it doesn't look anything like the possibilities. And as a builder, you are straddling where your vision is, where you know your school needs to be versus where your school is. And you want to cross that divide in one step. And it doesn't work that way. So if you are feeling that pressure or if you're putting that pressure on yourself right now, I want you to stop because being a builder is not a quick fix. You're playing the long game here. And one of the reasons why we started Buildership University is because we started seeing people who saw the Buildership model. They heard me talk about that Buildership model and they were like, yes, I want it. They read the book, Stop Leading, Start Building. And they're like, yes, this makes sense. I want to do this. They came to Builders Lab and learned the process. And they go back to their schools and are like, I want to do all of it tomorrow because it makes so much more sense and my life is going to be better. And the process takes time. And so the reason we started Buildership University is so that we could take that process and map it out so that people could make steady progress by doing the right work in the right order without getting stressed out. Here's the challenge, though. A lot of people are like, I don't want to take the time to do it. I need the help right now. And they want to just, they're feeling the pressure. They're feeling the pain of their current situation. And they want to fix it all right now. And first of all, you can't. But second of all, you wouldn't even want to, because if you did, if you just threw everything that you knew about buildership into your school right now, you would break your school. You see, leadership and buildership they can't really coexist. And if you try to take everything that everybody's always known and throw it away so that you can put this new thing that you're still learning in place right away, you're going to break the system. You're going to break both systems, right? Because if you're a new builder, or like I like to call them new boos, right? So if you're a new builder and you are starting the process, there's still so much you don't know. There's still so much you're learning. And if you immediately try to put everything in place when everybody's looking at you, people don't like change anyway, right? So you're coming in and you're changing everything about everything. And then once you do that, if you don't really know what you're doing yet, then people are saying, okay, we did it. We changed. Now what? And you're like, I don't know. I haven't read that chapter yet. And now you're stuck and your credibility's gone. And there are balls getting dropped and you're feeling more pressure to get it right. And it just creates a mess. Here's the way that I recommend you do it. So the buildership journey takes about 3 years. And some of you are like, stop, hold up. I don't have 3 years. I'm in receivership right now. I don't have 3 years. I'm going to retire. 3 years from now, I plan on being superintendent somewhere. I don't have 3 years. My kids are failing now. Guess what? 3 years is going to come whether or not you start the process or not. And to do it well, it takes about 3 years. But just because it takes 3 years for the completion of the process doesn't mean you won't experience wins along the way. One of the things that I love in Buildership University, we have something called BU Commons, which is our private platform where we communicate and talk. So instead of putting something on a Facebook group, public, we own the platform. So it's exclusive, it's private, it's only for other people in Buildership University. And we have a thread there called the wins thread. And on the wins thread, people are, they talk about their wins. And what's so crazy is that people who have been in Buildership University for about a month, they're already starting to post wins because they're seeing the process work. So even though the process takes about 3 years for its full completion, you get wins immediately and ongoing. Okay. So let me talk to you about why 3 years and what happens during those 3 years. So the first year is what we call the establish year. It's going to take you about a year to put in all new systems in your school. And so you don't want to rush it. You don't want to just, over the summer, just blow up everything and put new systems in. Because if you do those systems well, you have to gradually onboard people to those systems. So the first thing you are going to do is you're going to create your vision, your mission, your core values. And then once you have that in place, that becomes the foundation of the work that you do. From there, you're going to say, all right, is our work in alignment? Is what we're currently doing in alignment? Where are the areas of misalignment? Where are the things that are really undermining our vision, mission, and core values? You're going to identify those right away so that you can start working on phasing those things out. And then you're going to create something we call the one plan. And you've heard me talk about that on the podcast before. And basically, you're going to say, listen, let's pare it down to what's most elemental for our achieving our vision, mission, and core values in the next 3 years. What are the things that are most elemental? And so you create this one plan that streamlines your work and gives you focus. Listen, you're going to do that in Buildership University. It takes, 9 to 12 weeks to get all of that done. And when you do that, you have such laser focus, you have such clarity, you're more efficient immediately, your work is more focused as a school. You already have experienced transformation and a win. Then you're still establishing, right? After you establish those, then you're going to start putting systems in place to support your vision, your mission, and your core values. So if you were in Buildership University, that's level 2 of Buildership University. So the key systems you're going to put in, you're going to put in a system around feedback, support, accountability, and culture. That process usually takes 9 to 18 weeks. So 3 to 6 months to put those systems in place and get them running well. Every time you get a new system on board, you see immediate results, and you build the system once, build it right, and you don't have to build it again. And what happens during this phase is the systems start doing the work for you, and stuff gets easier. Your school starts running more efficiently. You start reaching teachers who have been heretofore unreachable. You start seeing change happening in your school. There's a momentum that you create around it. Are you completely there yet? No, but you have taken your school a long way. The next thing you need to do is you need to start instituting those 90-day planning cycles. So you've got your vision, mission, and core values, your foundation. You know what you need to do to get everything in alignment. You've got systems to keep everything and everyone in alignment. And now you can start removing some of the biggest obstacles that are keeping you from your vision. And so 90-day planning cycles help you identify what's the most important obstacle that needs to be removed right now, and then how do we remove it in 90 days. And here's what you'll discover. The first time it might take you a little bit more than 90 days, maybe 90 days exactly. The second time, it gets faster. You get better at it. And your school becomes this well-oiled machine where you're focusing on doing the right work. You're focusing on doing the right work the right way. You have systems in place to ensure that everybody's doing the right work the right way, and you start seeing even more results. And then the last thing that you need to establish is you need to build other builders. You need to take other people in your organization and help them to start making this whole buildership process work so everything doesn't fall on you. And so there's a whole process that we teach in Buildership University for how to do that and to onboard people to this work so that the work keeps going even when you're not there. Now, that takes a year to get all of that established. So those of you who thought you could read the book or, go to a workshop and get it done in 2 months, no, not going to happen. Nor should it happen, right? You need time to learn. You need time to get these systems established. You need time to work people through the change process. And so establishing all of the systems that help make buildership work in your school takes about a year. Sometimes it takes 18 months. But it's not wasted time, because if you build it right the first time, you don't have to keep rebuilding and redoing everything over and over again. So builders play the long game. We put those things in place. The second phase of buildership, and usually this takes another year, is now we have to take what we've established and now we have to execute. So the second year is about execution. You're not building anything new. You're taking the things you've built and you're now executing. Now that should be a relief, right? Because in a leadership paradigm, it's like, okay, what's the next thing I need to do? All right, what's the next thing? All right, what's the next thing? In buildership, we're saying first year, let's put some systems in place. Let's put some processes in place. The next year, let's execute on those systems that we put in place, because you need time to make the systems work. You need time to refine the systems. So rather than learning anything new, we're going to go back and we're going to take a look at our alignment architecture and get our school in even more alignment. We're going to go back and we're going to take a look at our one plan and see, what did we learn from our one plan once we have it? What else do we need to do? How do we need to refine it now that our school is growing? And we're going to refine that one plan. We're going to take a look at our feedback, support, accountability, and culture systems. And we're going to really put them in place and let them work. Give them time to work, refine them, learn from them, make mistakes, and get better, tweak it, make it more your own. And we're going to do that. And then we're going to be looking at those 90-day planning cycles and getting better at that. And it's not going to just be a school-wide thing now. Let's take it down to grade levels or departments and let them to start identifying their roadblocks for those students and removing those in 90 days. And we're going to just create this rhythm and this momentum in our schools. And our schools are going to become these well-oiled machines, and we're going to see progress. It takes about a year because you need a whole school year, a whole cycle to go through where you just execute. You're not doing anything new. You're just executing on what you've done, right? The third year is the year that we call embed and extend. Okay, so establish year 1, execute year 2, year 3, embed and extend. By year 3, you will have learned some things. You'll know what works for your school, what doesn't. You will have refined things, and now it's time to take the things that are really working, and you're going to do more to embed them in your culture. But you may not be at 100% success yet, because this is where we get into the nuance. It is often harder to go from 80% to 100% than it was to get from 50% to 80%. It's a different kind of work. So in year 3, we're taking the work we're already doing and we're extending it so that we can cross that last divide, so that we can close that last gap and get to 100%. And this is where it becomes surgical, the work that you're doing. It's not about big sweeping changes. It's about tiny, small refinements that get you closer and closer to 100%. It's about building on what you now know works to make it work for everybody. Now, that's 3 years, but over the course of the 3 years, you're not continually gobbling up new information. You're not continually doing new stuff. You are that first year, if you give yourself time to get established that first year and you do a solid job of establishing that first year, the other 2 years get better. But if you rush, you're going to have to go back and redo the work. And quite frankly, most of us have spent a large portion of our careers redoing stuff because we didn't do it right the first time, or redoing stuff because we rushed into something without thinking it through first and realized that wasn't the right direction. So now we have to backtrack and go in another direction, or we're redoing stuff because we said, okay, I'll take care of that later. And then later shows up and now we have to redo what we've already done. If you calm down and slow down